Okay. Hey guys, just gonna have to wait here. I'm gonna doing another episode of Elder Scrolls 5, the Skyrim remastered. So we're gonna do. Let's see. We're gonna do in the books right now. My nose. Ow. Okay. Steal? No, I'm not gonna steal anything. Talk to you. Oh, it's just Sheik. No, he's not.
You are now in the Arcanium, of which I am in charge. It might as well be my own little plane of oblivion. Disrupt my Arcanium, and I will have you torn apart by angry Atronachs. Now, do you require assistance? I know what you want. Word travels fast around here. Discovered some big mystery, huh? Well, you don't even need to ask. No, I don't have anything for you. Not anymore, anyway. I said not anymore. Orthorn stole a number of books when he ran off to Felglow Keep to join those summoners. Some kind of peace offering. I think one of those volumes may have had some relevant information. If you want them, you'll have to talk to Orthorn. If you're feeling adventurous, I'm always looking for someone to procure valuable books from some more dangerous locations. Ah, some other time, perhaps. Not enough to bother with. Archmage Aaron's approach to these things is just to let them sort themselves out. Although now it looks like you'll be doing the sorting. Good luck with that. He was an apprentice here at the college. Not very skilled, but got involved with a group of mages who took a liking to him. When they left, he took off after them. Stole supplies and books from the college. I suppose as a way to ingratiate himself. Let's just call it a difference of opinion with the college. They were interested in research that goes outside the bounds of what the college allows, so they were persuaded to leave. As a matter of fact, there are. Have you ever heard of Shalador? Immensely powerful mage, back in the First Era. Had an understanding of magic few have ever matched. He holed himself up in Labyrinthian, and devoted all his time to research and study. Wrote more than you would imagine possible. Since then, his writings have been scattered all over Skyrim, but are little use to anyone who can't translate them. I'm one of the few who can. I've heard whispers of more of his work having turned up. If you can track it down, it may prove useful to all of us. A mage is only as good as what he knows. I try to make sure as much knowledge is available as possible. We've been keeping this collection since the Second Era. Books have come and gone during that time, but it's mostly intact. Of course I do. If I didn't, most of these books would have been burned to ashes or dissolved to nothing before the Third Era. Mages need to be reminded to be careful around research materials. And what do you plan to do with it? Do you even know what you're asking about? Or are you just someone's errand boy? You think that even if I did have one here, I would let you see it? It would be kept under the highest security. The greatest thief in the world wouldn't be able to lay a finger on it. What about? Wait. Were you the one the Greybeards were calling? I'll bring everything we have on them, but it's not much. So don't get your hopes up. It's mostly lies, leavened with rumor and conjecture. Fight well.
The Rise and Fall of Blades by Anonymous. There are many that still remember the Blades. There are fewer that pass down their stories with their origins and their downfall. While it could, in his proudest moments, he said to me, "You keep secrets like the Blades. The Blades were good at keeping secrets. They didn't write down much. They passed information. carefully between their spies in every province. To the elite members of that protected the emperors, even amongst their members, they keep much secret. Most are associate with the blades with their ceremonial like Kivier's armor and cursed long swords. One can trade the blades back to fierce warriors of a Kivier. Train guard was there as just as.
Why,
Oh,
you little filcher! Here you go. Try not to spill anything on them.
hey, Firefox button. There are many to remember the blades. There are fewer that can pass down their stories, words of downfall. My father could, in his brightest moments, said to me, "You keep secrets like the blades. The blades were good at keeping secrets. They didn't break down much. They passed some information carefully between their spies in every province to their elite members that protected the emperors. Even amongst their members, they kept much secret. The motion of the blades with the criminal Kivian armor and carved longswords. Can one trace the blades back to the fierce warriors of a Kiviar? Vanguard was there too, just as they would do in Count Tamiel, that protected rulers in their kingdom. But recent discoveries show it could be much more than that. Many classic texts tell us adventures of a Kiviar known as the Dragonlands of the East. Made of Tamir have attempted to conquer it, most famously Emperor Uriel V and his 10th Legion of 3E288 and documents an imperial dispatch disaster of Loneth. Dragons have been the legend of Xavier, and many believe that the relief parents of Tamarill's history are not the escaping Kiri, for it was there they were hunted and killed off the Dragon Guard. Oh shit. The Dragon Guard would follow those that fled to the Tamarill and late First Era, invading from the north. Lord met not only dragons, but the men of Skyrim. We don't need evasions or pictures of mead. The Dragon Guard cut path through Skyrim. It was not until we were stopped by Remen Citadel during the Battle of Pale Pay Pass the invasion came to an end. It was Raymond who united the human lands of Citadel and defeated the Kivir members. Riemann is one of the first documented and widely accepted the mystic Dragonborn, those attempted by Atash and Elisa themselves, born soul of the dragon. It was, the followers would say, reports differed widely on the nature of the Battle of Pale Pass, but the end result in the same. And the remaining Dragon Guard, upon hearing the voice of Remen Cyrildel, knelt and swore their lives to him, the conqueror and savior. Fragments of First Era text referred to the warriors dropping to their knees, saying, "We are not hunting or did not intend to author." Rough translation continuing, "We do have searching for you." They protected Riemann with their lives as well as his descendants. As Raymond's dynasty ushered in Tamarill's second era, it was through these years that their reach extended and their order grew to become the Blades. The conquest of the dragons complete. They also only sought to protect the Dragonborn, and through him the Empire. They reached their height late during the Third Era under the rule of Septim Warrior Emperors. Despite their numbers, they kept their secrecy. The most visible and well-documented were the members who personally guarded the Emperor, still wearing the original Kiviri armor, but that was the first tip of the spear, where the blades were larger, a certain organization stretching to every corner of the Tamriel. These agents were every race. They were merchants, thieves, craftsmen, mages, and warriors, all acting as spies, protecting the Empire as they needed, and operating in secret. They often acted alone, but some fragments speak of them meeting in new fortresses across the continent. The most famous being Citadel's cloud ruler temple. They were hung those swords of any slain protecting the Dragonborn. Other maps speak of Wind Scow Temple under the great expanse of Hammerfell's Elker's Desert, Skyhaven Temple in the mountains of Skyrim, and the Storm Talon Temple of East Wayrest. They were also known to have a Grandmaster who often lived amongst the people, unknown to others. The nature of their communications, meeting places, and missions were known to only the few elite members, the only two to know. We were all Grandmasters himself and the Chronicler, whose only job was to make sure group missions was never known, but never lost. The death of Euryseptimus, whoever that is, and his son, they hate that it's fucking L2 and R2, two transmissions. Martin the Third heir came to the close of the blades, fortifying themselves, keep those cloud ruler. Temple as he waited for the Dragonborn to return when they would be called upon again. Emperor the Fourth heir no longer saw the blades openly protecting it, were the emperors. The role is now filled with the Depentus Oculatus, a purely imperial organization, but the blades continued their secret work to watch over the Dragonborn and guard against future enemies. Blades were among the first to see the signs of the Chalmor and of Delmeri Dominion would not remain isolated within their borders forever. They could do what the Pentus Oculus, servant to imperial policy, could not, and thus earn the lasting hatred of the Thalmor. The warnings of the Blades were proved right, as it's known to all. The Great War between the Empire and the Thalmor skimmed the Empire and nearly destroyed it. Emperor Titus Mend II eventually brokered peace with the Thalmor, but at a price many of us still bear. Use and destructive nature of the Thalmor is known to many authors. Note to my family's was firsthand. They are not fools. They knew early on that blades were an enemy, so they hunted them throughout the Great War. Some were killed defending their temples. Others said that as they slept in their hideaways alone. War. Some were killed defending their temples, and others slept in their hideaways alone. Some fought, some ran, some hid, but the Thalmor found them all. There's of those. They say that blades still exist around us and hiding from the Thalmor, waiting as they have done time and time again for the Dragonborn to return, for one to protect, the one to guide them. Thank you. What am I doing here? I don't want to read anymore, but I got to. That's the way I do it. Effects of Elder Scrolls. It is widely known among scholars that the Elder Scrolls entail a certain biohazard in their very reading. The mechanism of effects has been largely unknown. Theories of hidden knowledge and divine retribution were the subject of idle speculation with little investigation. Agistanus Paulinus have undertaken the thorough document of elements affected by the Elder Scrolls and their readers. Through the identified theory of how they would manifest continues to elude me. It remains a subject for further study. I have grouped the effects into four, finding that the view of experience depends largely upon the mind and the reader. This is unclear. I hope that the proper notoriety will lay plain. The nails of those who were deceived and trained in the mystery of nature of the Elder Scrolls. The scroll itself is officially inert. No prophecy can be scried, nor knowledge obtained, while the scroll would not impart leading and uninformed, nor that will affect them in any adverse fashion. Visually, the scroll will appear to be owlish in odd lettering and symbols. Those who know their astronomy often claim to recognize constellations and the patterns and connections. As such, conjecture is impossible to further investigate, since the very nature of his study was necessary to learn subjects. Group second, the unguarded intelligence, is the second group that realized the greatest danger from attempting to read the scrolls. These are the subjects who have an understanding of the nature of the Elder Scrolls, with a significant knowledge to actually read what is described there. They have not, however, developed intuitive discipline to starve off the mind-shattering effect of having a glimpse of infantry. These unfortunate souls are stuck in merely irrevocably and densely blind. Such is the price for overreaching one's facilities. Been mentioning through, though, that the blindness also comes in a fragment of hidden knowledge over the future and past. The deep plant natures of being is dependent on the individual and the place of the greater spheres, but the knowledge does come. Group to third. Without understanding alone the turmoil, it would appear that the only code of ancestors Moth has discovered in the discipline to properly guard one's mind. When reading the scrolls, the one navigates must undergo the most rigorous mental cultivation and often spend a decade or more than monastery before being allowed to read the first Elder Scroll. The monks say this is the innate's only protection and must have witnessed many unguarded decks among the more elder ranks. Fortunate fortune, these readers are received blindness, though is a far lesser magnitude than the unguarded. The vision fogs finally shape, color, and enough to acuity to continue to read not much in text. The knowledge that they gain from the scroll is also tempered somewhat. It requires stages of meditation and reflection to fully appreciate to express what we once saw. Group of the fourth, mediated understanding between the religious group of those who this continuum that doesn't have to be traversed by the monks of the ancestor. Month with continued breedings, the monks become gradually more and more blind and even receive greater and more detailed knowledge. As they spend their waking hours pondering revelations, they also receive a further degree of mental fortitude. There is for every monk a day of palliative reading, when we're only knowledge of the Elder Scroll parts is that the monk's next reading shall be his last. For each monk, the palliative reading comes to a different and unknowable time when the work has been done to protect the occurrence by charting the severity of an individual monk's blindness, but also the ones who reach the later stages. Report the increase in blindness seems to temper the extreme readings. Some suppose the notion that some others seen senses the fact to continue to diminish of the upper range, but it shall leave such postulations to philosophers. To prepare for his ultimate reading, one typically withdraws the solution in order to reflect upon the lifetime of the relations and upon his mind and so deception of his last but his final readings. He is forever blinded and sure of those unguarded ones who raised the unto knowledge. The eliminated one, though, has retained his understanding over a lifetime of typically possessing more intuitive notion of what has revealed to him. It is hoped that his catalog proves useful to those who wish to further our mortal understandings of Elder Scrolls. The mock priest remain aloof among these matters, taking the gradual deliberation and comes to the reading of the point of pride. May this serve as a meaningful stating point for all those helping to take up such study. Dictated the optimist mentions for to succeed in the year 126th year of the Second Era. What's this one? Ruminations of Elder Scrolls by Septic Sinus College of Winterhold. Imagine living beneath the waves and the strong-sided blessings of the most excellent fabric, holding the fabric over their gills and would begin to breathe, drink its wrap and weft. Though the plant matter fibers imbue your soul, and rich plankton would pollute the cloth until it stank in the heavens of prophecy. This is one matter this is with the scrolls first come to pass, so we are the sea, or the breather, or the fabric, or are we the breath itself? Can you flow through the scrolls, and his knowledge flows through, being the water, and we are destructing more sea filth gathers on the edge. Imagine again this time and different, but different. A bird christened in wind, and lifted by a gust, and down by a stone. but the stone can come from above. The bird is upside down. Where then did the guest come from? In direction did the gods send either, or did the bird cease to read their presence in near, by making the old sight of the scrolls make a turning of the mind, such as related positions and absolute in their primary. I ask you again to improve for me. This time you are beneath the ground, a tiny acorn planted in some well-meaning elf mated for the woodslands for her pleasure. You wish to grow, but fear what we may become. You push off the water, the dirt, the sun, to stay in your hole. But it is the very best pushing that you become a tree. In spite of yourself, how did that happen? The acorn is kind of tree, egg, and its distance, and the knowledge is water and sun. We are chicken inside the egg, and also the dirt, the knowledge from the scrolls, and what you push against to become full-sighted ourselves. Final managing before your mind closes. From the shock of every knowing, you are now a flame burning bright blue within the vast emptiness, and sometime you see your brothers and sisters burning their own in the distance along their side. See each one points of desolation of memories, each burns bright and flickers. The two were taken its place and now forever least, that the void fills the branch of light and sucks the thought. Each of your minds is actually an emptiness, and many of the scrolls are important points. Without their stabbing light, my consciousness would be as a mess, nothing less unknowing as emptiness, as a void, is knowing itself, but the burnings and dangerous must be careful, tended, and minded as he brought themselves to spread their siblings. That was awkward. Okay. Talk to him.
Hundreds of years have gone into assembling this collection. It's going to stay pristine, understand? Aye, that's the work of Septimus Cygnus. He's the world's master of the nature of Elder Scrolls, but, well, he's been gone for a long while. Too long. Oh no, I hope not. But even I haven't seen him in years, and we were close. Became obsessed with the Dwemer. Somewhere in the ice fields, if you want to try to find him.
You there. I have questions for you. You were in Sarthal, yes? It has come to my attention that something was found there. I am well aware. Tolfdir is still in Sarthal, is he? I shall be expecting a full report from him when he returns. It is my job to know these things. My role as advisor to the Archmage is aided by knowing everything that transpires here. Thank you for your help. You may go now.
That was a lot of reading for that. Fuck. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's go out here. Yeah, they're interesting, but they also get, like, very long for no reason. Where... Where is that mission? So I can just... Where is it? It's fast travel. You know, I don't want to walk all the way around. Hello? Where's the mission? There it is. Aw, okay. Okay. Push over there, yes. Okay. Yeah, I do agree. It's very nice. It's very well done too. Whoever wrote the books are definitely a person that's very smart. I'm try to get over here. Do this last part of the mission before we end it here. Not for this episode, I mean. You can get up there. You can get up there. Seriously. You suck. Really? Damn. Don't attack me. Don't attack me. Don't attack me. Don't.
This is the end for you. You there, please. You have to help me. I was attacked by a vampire. Do you have a potion or something that can cure this before I turn? Then get out of my way. I have to get to a town and find a priest.
Or I can just kill you.
Victory is yours. I submit. Please don't kill me.
You're gonna turn into a vampire. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, dude. Oh! What the hell is that? A fucking dragon? Wait a minute. Yeah, it's a dragon. Want your soul. Does it get better? I have no clue. Maybe it's very beautiful though. Come on, get down here, dragon. Well, get down here. Come on, dude. Damn it. It's annoying. I had the fucking dragon beat. Please. Gotta save. I know. It usually gets easier the second time you fight him, though. It's weird. So I'm gonna save right now, just in case. Wish you can sprint this game, but you can't. Or I just don't know how. I've only been playing this game for a couple weeks, like a week. Not even. Oh, that's weird. You see that? It's like a glitch. It's not fully rendering, it's weird. We didn't appear this time. Okay. Well, we'll be ready for him that time, but apparently he didn't fall up in this time. But look, we keep discovered. So talk to this guy over here. Where is he? Oh! Excuse me, dude. What the hell is this? Look at that. More? No.
What is it? Go on, attack! Yeah.
Okay, who hit me? What's my bottom? The 5 tanks use the tactics for 5 years, Warrior Volume 1 by Ellis Condians. The legions could learn from the traditional tactics used for the Prevent clothing in the 5 years war against Fathomwood. I was stationed at the Sphinx Month Legion Fort on the border near Dune and witnessed many of the northern skirmishes firsthand. The war started with the so-called slaughter of Torval, and Gelman claimed that. I know, I used it. His Bosmer invaded the city without protection. If you don't use it once a day, when the day starts back up, you can only use it once. Hooter invaded the city without protection for being driven off by the reinforcements from the nearby jungle tribe. The Bosmer claimed that the attack was the retaliation of 20 bandits who were attacking wood caravans headed for Vanwood. Spring of 396, the war moved closer to Fort Spinksmont. It was posted on the lookout as some saw parts in the conflict. It was later spoke with the both Karat, the Bosmer who fought in battle, and it would serve as an excellent example of how the used a mixture of ground and 3 units to win the war. The whatever began the light in the usual way, sending tree-cutting teams of Cathoy, Rot, and fearsome Scavish Rat and Battle Cats into the outskirts of its fortress, where the word reached the Bosmer that the trees were being felled, being a crime in the strange but enemy region. These units of archers were dispatched from larger conflicts in the south. The Bosmer were goaded, anticipating their forces into smaller groups. Bosmer's archers took up the positions in the remaining trees, and these branches were, and now at 20 or more feet apart, allowing some light into the forest floor. Bosmer spent the remaining trees with the magics into the 4 small fortifications with which the fired the boughs. When the tree cutters arrived the next morning, a half-dozen counts fell to the Bosmer heroes in the first valley. After the counts took large wooden shields from the backs of Senech and made a crude shelter. Even an enormous Senche, I don't even know all these words. We were able to head between the shelter and the larger trees. When it became apparent would not leave their shelter, some Bosmer chose to descend and engage sword to claw. When the Bosmer were very upon the shelter of the whatever began declaring a native instruction to pluck bridle bars. This war is a signal of some kind, and a small group of men like Odums and Odums Ravat emerged of the covering poles of the force floor. Although outnumbered, they were attacking from behind by the surprise and won the ground quickly. The Bosmer archers in the trees would have still won the battle were they not having troubles of their own. A group of Daji and Daji Rot, 2 of the less common forms of Drajit, who lived in the trees of timber forests, jumped from one tree to another under a magical cover of silence. They took up positions in high branches. They could not hold a Bosmer's weight till a single came. They used their claws and either torches or spells of fire. Counts from 2 survivors I spoke with vary of this point. The strike of the archers would battle the ground took place. Few of the archers were able to flee, and most were killed. Apparently, the Daji and the Daji Rabba had more magical ability than we widely believe. And they were able to keep themselves magically silenced for so long. One of the surviving Bosmer told me that he saw a fury, ordinary cats among the Daji, and even claimed that these ordinary cats are known as Alquick, and that they were the spellcasters. The Bosmers are almost relatable in the Kashyyyk when it comes to the truth. I cannot believe that the house can cast spells. At the end of the day, the Kashyyyk just was perhaps half a dozen fighters and the force of no more than a dozen. While the Bosmer boss married the entire company of archers, survivors were unable to report back because before a second company of archers arrived and the strategy was repeated again, with similar results. Finally, a much larger force was sent, and the Positor won the battle with the help of native animals and firewood. Those that took third skirmish in the Kishak response I would discuss in the second volume of the series. No, thank you. I don't want to read anymore. So, oh, ow. What the? Oh. Oh, you gotta be. Ow. Lockpick. We'll take and open it. Got it. Anything?
Damn you!
Out of the way, meat. Out of the way, meat.
Trying to save you. I can kill you now. I don't like vampires. Vampires die. Okay. Vampire dust. So they turn to dust, but not. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Wooden bowl. Sheriff Margot's The Crimes of Erdrick Stormcloak. Artist Imperial Scholar. Arfric Stormcloak is considered a hero to many who part in dwelling in Forestone Uprising. It's said that the Empire abandoned Skyrim. The natives of the Reach rebelled, originally due to the Nords poor treatment of them. The Stormcloak and the militia were there to take the land from the Forestone. And all the bravado and the epic yarns and scards. Exposed to the exploits, you would think Ulfric would be a giant of a man, equal to that of Timur Symptom, his cunning leadership and decisive actions. But the truth was far more revealing. This, from 4E.74 and 176, Vorson did de facto rule over the Reach and the kingdom from Skyrim. This was accomplished while the Empire was bested among many forces and could not send the Legion to establish order. And yes, Ulfric Stormcloak did quell the rebellion without Imperial assistance. That much is true. Oh, okay. The rebellion Imperial assistance, that much true. The Barbs often will tell their stories that the Forestone Kingdom was quite peaceful in those 2 years they were in power. Here some crimes were committed against former Nord warriors, often those accused of being the harshest toward the native worshippers. When the whole Forestone ruled their land fairly, they were making overtures and recognized by the Empire division of the kingdom. In the wake of the aftermath of the Great War, you can imagine the backlog of extremely matters of the Empire had before peace, for a peace that could be resolved with the Forestone and militia held by Ulfric Stormcloak, siege to the gates of their capital Margaret. What happened during the battle was war, and what happened after the battle was over is nothing short of war crimes. Every official who would work for the Forestone would put to the sword even after they had surrendered. Native women were tortured to give up names of Forestone fighters. They would flood the city and they were battles of the Reach. Anyone who lived in the city, Forestone and Nord alike, were rescued if they had not fought the Irisov and his men when they breached the gates. You are with us or you are against Skyrim, was the message of Ulfric's lips. There were the deaths of shopkeepers, farmers, and elderly. And a child old enough to lift the sword that had failed in the call of light, a fight with him. So when the grateful empire attempted Zovic's entry and sent soldiers to reestablish the rule of law and reach, it was no surprise that they would demand to be allowed to worship Talos freely before the Legion could enter. Guys running through the streets of Markov, and reports of deaths rising every day, the Empire had no choice but to grant Ulfric and his men to wear worship. They vowed them to worship Talos, a full violation of white gold Chondrodite, with the unlimited dominion which recognized the Elven belief that Talos as a human cannot be one of the divines, nibbling the treaty that took so much sacrifice during the Great War. War was wrong, but what choice did they have? I ask you, against the bear of Marchrift, the music Stormcloak? No is not an answer. I want a hat. Whoops. Yeah, same here.
I love it when dinner walks right into my arms.
Vampires die. Close. Thank you. Goodbye. Little vampire. So close. So close. Damn it! Oh, I'm out of luck. Sorry, can't save you. Sorry about that. Where am I going? There's blood on the ground. From me. Oh yeah, we need to be here. Nothing. I walked right into that. Wait. Okay. I went to completely different way I was supposed to. Well, that was like an optional area, I guess.
I knew it.
Knew what? No, I have to go this way. Okay. Ow. More enemies. Enough. What is hitting me?
Oh, I promise I'll help you get out of here. The books? Oh, I see. I thought perhaps... Well, I thought you'd come for me. But yes, the books. The caller will have them. She was most interested in one of the volumes, although not interested enough to keep me from being locked up. Don't you need my help? Well, if you're sure, I'll just be on my way then. Please, do be careful. And thank you.
Oh yeah. Garlic. I don't know what these things do. Large key. What the? Oh. Did I? Nope. Damn it. Oh my god, man. Kill him. Damn it.
Scared him off.
These guys would just use their magic constantly on you. Okay, I'm right in the area here. Okay. Where did I go? Open the door. Oh my god, I'm getting stuck.
Mind to command.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to it either. I was trying to beat the guy, you know. It didn't work out to my favor, I guess. Do you have anything? You have a lockpick. And gold. Wolves. Wise wolves in a tome. I want that.
Is someone there? Never should go, boys.
Stupid. Yes.
saved me. Thank you so much. Who knows what they'd have done to me if you hadn't come along? I promise I'll help you get out of here. The books? Oh, I see. I thought perhaps... Well, I thought you'd come for me. But yes, the books. The caller will have them. She was most interested in one of the volumes, although not interested enough to keep me from being locked up. Don't you need my help? I shall do my best.
You going that way? Where are we going? Oh, wait, not.
And begin.
Someone
You
there.
hear something?
Yeah!
Why did I ever come here?
Ooh. Okay. The real Banzanda Volume 1 by Anonymous. Oh shit. Well, and folks. I've 100 years ago, and 100 years ago, in the Moorhold City of Gems, there lived a blind widow and their only child, a tall, strapping young man. He was a miner, and he was his father, Bahorum, a common laborer in the mines of the Lord of Mournhold, where his ability to magicka was small. The work was honorable, but paid poorly. His mother made and sold Canberry cakes on the city market to help eke out their living. They did well enough, she said. She had enough to fill their bellies. No one could wear more than one suit of clothing at a time, and the roof leaked only when it rained. The Shakemus would have likely more he hoped for a lucky strike of the mines, which would garnish him for a larger bonus. In the 3 hours, he enjoyed hustling a mud of ale in the tavern with his friends, and gambling with them with the cards. He drew the eyes inside more than one pretty elven lass. Although none held his interest for long, he had the typical young dark elf, a prisoner's descent, probably only for his size. It was rumored that he had the bit of Nordic blood in him. The 13th year, there was a great rejoicing to Mournhold. The girl child had been born to the Lord, and the lady of a queen. And the people sang, "The queen is born to us," for among the people of Mournhold, the birth of an Iris is a sure sign of future peace and prosperity. When the time came around for the royal child of right of naming, the mines were closely and Simus dashed home to bathe and dress in his best. "I'll rush straight home and I'll tell you off about it," as he promised his mother, who would not be able to attend. She had been ailing, and besides, there would be great crush on people as all. Where was I? All Mournhold burned out to be part of the blessed event, and being blind, she was able to see anything away anyway. "My son," she said, before you go, fetch me a priest or a healer so I can pass you from the mortal plane when you return." Sintimus crossed her to Paladin once and noted anxiously, and her forehead was very hot and her breathing shallow. He pried loose the slat of the wooden floor until under which their small hoard of saving was kept. There wasn't nearly enough to pay a priest for healing. He would have to give what they had. Oh, the rest. He was just snatched up his cloak and hurried away. The streets were full of folk hurrying to the sacred grove, and the temples were locked and barred. Close to the ceremony read all the signs. Systematics elbowed his way through the mob and managed to overtake a brown-robed priest after a right brother. You said, "If you have gold, I shall gladly attend to your mother." My mood has been in all serious attend. I attended, and I, for one, have a which to defend them. My mother's just pretty ill. Simix pleads, "Surely, my lord, will not miss one holy priest." True, the archcanon will. Burzin said, nearly tearing his robe loose of Simix, Sprint's grip of vanishing into the crowd. Simix ride other priests, and even a few mages, with no better result. Armored guards marched through the street and pushed him aside with their lances, and Simix was for the royal procession that was approaching. As the city bearing the city's rulers drew a burst, the Simix rushed out from the crowd and shouted, my lord, my mother is dying. I forbid her to do so on this sorry night." The lord shouted, laughing and shouting, toying at the thong. Simus was close enough to smell wine on the royal breath. On the other side of the carriage was a lady crushed the babe in her breast and stared slit-eyed as Simus' nostrils flared in disdain. "Guards," she cried, "remove this oath. Remove rough hands seized Simix. It was a heathen and left dazed by the side of the road." Simix, head of aching, followed the wake of the crowd and witnessed the rite of naming at the top of a hill. He could be the brown robe, Grace, and blue robe mages, lived near the highest folk of far below. It's Barnza. The name came dimly to Simix. Her ears are as the highest priest lifted the Swabbles babe and offered her to the twin moons on either side of the horizon. Joan rising, jade setting. The lady but Barnza, born in the land of Bunhold, grant her by twisting the console. The kind gods that she has made me rule over mournful this kingdom's wheel. This gift. What I could do with R2. This oath. Bless her, all the people atoned along with the Lord and Lady Pans of praise. And Simon stood slight, head bowed, knowing his heart would be that his dear mother was gone, and the silence he swore a mighty oath that he should be his Lord's bane, and the vengeance for his mother's needless death. The child's Bazarda he should have for his own pride, and that his mother's grandchildren should be born to rule over mournful. After the ceremony, watched personally the procession returned to the palace. He said that the priest would be whom he first spoken. King Darcy enough now to return to the Glades to make time. And the promise of more afterwards. They found his mother dead. He signed and tucked the pouch of gold coins away. "I'm sorry, brother. It's all right. It's all right. You can't forget the rest of the gold. That's all I can do here. Likely. Give me back my money," Simone snarled. "You've done aught to earn it." He lifted his right arm earnestly. The priest backed away and was about to utter a curse. What just struck him had come across the face before the word done. 3 words had left his mouth. He went down heavily, striking his head sharply onto one of the stones that formed the fire pit. He died instantly. He snatched up the gold and fled the city. As he ran, he muttered the one word over and over like a sorcerer's chant. Bazanda, he said, Bazanda, Bazanda, Bazanda. Stood on one of the galleries of the palace, staring down the courtyard where the soldiers milled, gazing to armor. Firstly, they formed into the ordered ranks and cheered as their parents. The lord and lady emerged from the palace, clad from the head to toe to ebony armor. Long purple dyed fur cloaks, flowing behind, splendidly compares fashions, shining black. Horses were brought them and mounted by the road of the courtyard gates and turned to salute her. Bazanda, she cried. Bazanda, our beloved, farewell. The little girl blinked back and tears waved one hand bravely. Her favorite stuffed animal, a gray wolf cub she called Woofin, clutched to her breast with the other. She had never been parted from her parents before and had no idea what it meant, save that was the war in the West. The name Timber Symptom was on everyone's lips. Spoken to hate and dread, Bizarda, the soldiers cried, thumping the lances into swords and bows. Then her dear parents turned and rode away, knights trailing on their wake until the courtyard was nearly emptied. Sometime after came the day when Bizanda was shaken awake by her nurse, some hurriedly and born with the palace. All she could remember is the dreadful time when she seen the blue shadow was burning. Eyes filling the sky. She was fast from hand to hand. Foreign soldiers disappeared, comes reappeared. Her nurse vanished, and some was replaced by strangers, some more than strange than others. They were days or not. They may have weeks of travel. One morning she stepped out of the coach into the cold place where the large grey stone castle amid empty, endless grey green hills covered passionately with gravy. The grey white snow, she clutched waving to her breast in both hands and stood blinking and shivering in the grey dawn, feeling very small and very dark in this endless space, the endless grey white space. She and Hannah, I don't know, is that Hannah or is that an H? I don't know. A brown-skinned, black-haired maid who had been traveling with her for several days went inside the keep. Large gray-white woman with icy green, gray golden hair was sitting by the hearth of one of the rooms. She stared towards Bizanda and dreadful bright blue eyes. She was very black, isn't she? She's very black, isn't she? The woman remarked to Hannah. I've never seen a dark elf before. I don't know much about them myself, my lady, Hannah said, but this one's got red hair and temper to match. I tell you that. Take care. She bites, and worse. I'll train her out of that. The other woman sniffed. And what's that filthy thing she got? Ugh! The woman snatched Wolfen away as she turned him into the blazing hearth. Bizanda shrieked and would have flung herself after him. It was held back despite her attempts to bite and claw her captors. Poor Wolfen has reduced a tiny heap of the charred ash. Zara threw like a weed transplanted into Skyrim's garden. A word that counts 7, and his wife and Lady Inga, outwardly that is, strived, but also always there was a cold and empty place within. I raised her and my own daughter. Lady Inga was wont to sigh as she got gossiping when neighboring ladies came to visit, but she's a dark elf. What can you expect? Zara, with Baron Zaya, was meant to oversee these words. At least she thought she was not. Her hearing was keener than that of her Nordic host. Nonetheless, desirable dark elven's trait eventually concluded preferring lying and a little misplaced magic, just as a small fire spell here and a little intimidation spell there. As she grew older, a keen interest in boys and men would provide very pleasant sensations, and her intelligent gift as well was approved on this last of the reasons attributable to Bern's era. So she was careful to keep it as a secret as possible. She's wonderful in the children. He got added, referring to her soil, 5 sons, all younger than Bazanga. I don't think she ever let them come to harm. A tutor had been hired with Zoni, 6 of Bazanga, 8, and they took their lessons together. She would have Flint to train in arms as well. But the very idea scandalized Count 7 and Lady Inga. So Bazanga. I don't even know how to say these words. Was a small bow and allowed to play at target shooting with the boys. She watched them on arms practice when she could, spared with them what the no grown-up folk were about, and knew she was good or better than they. She's very proud, though, isn't she? One of the ladies would disappear in Inga, and something pretending to be here, not to be sounding in agreement. She would not help but fear superior an account and this lady. There was something about them that provoked contempt. Afterwards, she came to learn that 7 and Inga were distant cousins of Darnmore. He blessed tilted residents, and she finally understood. They were traitors and imposters. Imposters, not rulers at all. At least they were not raised to rule. That thought made her extremely furious at them. Good, clean, battered, height detached from resentment. She came to see them as disgusting. Come on, dude. Jesus Christ. New business would do despise and never feared. At one month, the courier came from the Emperor, bringing a small bag of gold for 7 and Inga with a large bag of dried mushrooms from Borrowin and Bizarda. Her favorite threat on these occasions, she was always made to look presentable, really so presentable as a skinny dark elf who can be made to look in Inga's eyes. Before it's being summoned into the same curiosity them came twice, but all of them looked her over in much same way as the farmer would look over a bog. He was raiding the market. In the spring of her 7th year, something thought the courier looked as if she were at last ready to for market. Upon reflection, she decided she did not wish to be marketed. Stable boy Straw, a big muscular blonde, bland, clumsy, gentle, affiliation, and regular simple. She had been urging her ruin for some weeks now. Bizarre, something stole the bug. Golden Carrier had left, took the mushrooms from the storeroom, disguised herself as a boy in Johnny's old tunics, a pair of the cast-up breeches, and took the 2 best horses from the stable and rode hard throughout the night toward Waywon, the nearest city of any importance in the palace where Straw wanted to be. Warrenfold and Whirlwind also lay eastward, and they drew Bizarra as some draws iron. In the morning they abandoned the horses of Bizarra's resistance. She knew she would be missed and tracked down as she hoped to throw in any pursuers. They continued to foot until the late afternoon, keeping the side roads, and slept for several hours in the abandoned hut. They went on the dust and came to the Waywon city gates before dawn. Something had prepared a pass of sorts. On Straw, a makeshift document stating of errand to a temple in the city for the local village lord. She herself guided over the wall with the help of a divination spell. She had resisted correctly, as it turned out that by now the gate guards would have been alerted to keep an eye out for the young dark elven girl and Nordic boy traveling together. On the other hand, accompanied by country vehicles by Straw, were a common enough sight, a tone, and with papers it was mainly meant to draw attention. So we went, Jesus Christ, how much is left? This is long as shit. I'm not reading all this, no. I'm not reading all that. That is way too long. No, thank you. My voice was starting to hurt there. Like, jeez.
The undercroft. Necromancer. Come on, be careful.
You asshole. You're an ass. No. Let's try to beat this. Let's trying to beat this mission so we can take Call of the Night. Because that is a really long this is so much reading in this that book. There's no reason for that. I get it, it's long. But there's like it's kind of annoying. Every book in this game is like a fucking full story. He just disappeared. Get out of here. Yeah, I agree. Hello.
That's the best you can do.
Get out of here.
No more. I yield. I yield.
There you go. You're dead though. Your health?
What are you doing?
Oh, it's you. Sorry. Sorry, bud. Let's see if I have any. Oops. Do I have healing? Yep. Yeah, I do. Okay. I didn't know I had potions. Lavender. And did you jump to a pressure?
I've got to get out of here.
Yeah. Apple. I didn't mean to. I was just doing that. Look, he just got in the way. Like I was trying to hit the other guy, and he got in the way. Where? I'm so confused. Where am I going? Just following the road, I guess. There's stairs up there. Oh, where'd you go? Sir, follow me. Stop following around. Of course not.
The library is just through here. We're getting close now.
Over here.
Why did I ever come here?
You're an idiot. Dude, whoa. Okay. Really? Jesus. Okay.
So you're the one who barged into my home and laid waste to my projects. How nice to meet you.
Who are you?
Names no longer matter. You may refer to me as the Caller. Now, do you have a reason for making such a mess? So you're just one of Arin's lackeys. That's disappointing. You show real promise. You come here, kill my assistants, disrupt my work. You've annoyed me, so I don't think I'll be giving you anything. Are you attempting to threaten me after I've been so hospitable? Well, then you won't be leaving here at all. You never should have come here.
It had to be done. You had to die.
I need your help with something. Something private.
No. I'm not doing it.
I think the college is due for a change in leadership.
We shouldn't have been disturbing Sarthal, no matter what you found down there.
Oh, it's a Winterhold, yep. Oh, where's that troll? There he is.
I don't... Hundreds of years have gone into it. Well, well. And you seem to be in one piece. Thank you. I'll look these over and inform Mirabelle if I find anything relevant. Night of Tears, eh? I remember this one. Well, isn't that interesting? Did you read it yourself? If I recall it correctly, that has some interesting implications. You should mention that to Toldir. And here. I suppose you've earned these.
And the books is complete. Yeah, but
All right, then.
before we do that, we're not going to do that tonight, but so the next mission, no, not Lee. Okay, so the next video we're going to do is Good Intentions. So Urix asked me to mention the Night of the Tears book to Tortif. Speak to Torfter. So if you like this video, please comment, subscribe, like this video to help out. If we haven't already, and we'll be on in the morning about like 11, 12. So if you like this video, I agree. And we'll see you guys next time. See you guys. Thanks for everybody coming out and hanging out with me today. See ya.